Hey everybody, how's it? Aloha, this is Geebz here, your old composer here at the Decomposer Lounge, doing another reaction and dissection. This is Symphony X. This is a long one. Got myself a nice hot cup of coffee here. And this is Through the Looking Glass, part 1, 2, and 3. So we're gonna get right on it. Cut out all the small talk. Those of you who have supported me, all right. Those of you who haven't, still cool. And those of you who are still thinking about it, just share the video. Geez. I love being chill. At least that's the way I feel right now. It's nice and chill. Just want to have a good time here. All right, guys, let's do this. Through the Looking Glass by Symphony X. This comes to us from Patreon Picks. Let's do this. Parts 1, 2, and 3. All right. Okay, before I let it get too far away, I loved how they opened it up. You saw me doing this, you know, calling out the bass line on that. I like that they had that opening sequence that was going up there. Those very high bells, it's kind of like fantasy style bells that were kind of hovering up there. And then as it started to power in and stuff like that, I realized that I was, you know, and I looked at, you know, this is 1998. And, you know, the feeling of it is obviously really super musical. And, you know, pushing a lot of the arrangement possibilities and doing a music in this style. I love the in and out muting of a lot of stuff that was happening there with the guitar. And then the piano was kind of a little subdued but back there, but obviously who's ever doing the keyboards has a lot of things that are going on. Obviously this is a recording, but much like the keyboardist from Dream Theater, you know, triggering, always doing things, but piano's primarily the thing. And but I just wanted to just stop really quick. And also I heard, but it wasn't strings, but these really super high pads. I think the experience that I'm having here, because I've done one from them already, is that this is really just super progressive composition, and it's really big musical theater of the mind kind of vibe. So it can really light off a lot of different imagery, I guess, if you would, depending on the listener. You know, we each paint our own images when we listen to music. Okay, I'm going to listen to this for quite a fat chunk before I come back in, so let's go ahead and get on it. Stand by. Here we go.
Curious to what she doesn't know.
All right, it looks like all of a sudden we had like neoclassical jumping in there, like Yngwie said, "Hey, wait, hang on for a second, let me do something." I'm just kidding. I mean, but I'm not kidding in the style in which that was being played. Very classical influenced in that solo or in that phrasing there. You know, I'm listening to this and it's, you know, Symphony X and obviously symphonic rock, symphonic metal. I think for me, where I'm beginning to learn and trying to decipher things, and this is why I need you guys to help me out with this, is that I think that sometimes when I hear something like this, I hear it's along the lines of, I mean, there's some really great influences that are coming down that I can hear from the 70s and the 80s. You know, there's some Queen style influence in musicianship and stuff like that. Musicianship here is great. Everybody here is absolutely killing it. So we don't even have to talk about them. They've already hit, you know, God tier in performance. But when I listen to, when I'm thinking symphonic metal, sometimes I think of bands more Nightwish or something like that, and I don't have a deep enough knowledge on symphonic rock and metal to call out anything like, well, I don't know what I did. But it does feel more of that Dream Theater style vibe than, let's just say, Nightwish. Now, once again, you guys help me with the difference in that, because I really kind of don't know, except for what my ears tell me. I love this guy's voice. I really love this guy's voice. There's been a few voices that I've heard in symphonic metal or in, you know, progressive hybrid symphonic metal. And sometimes the voices sound like they're, you know, pop, you know, being pulled in, you know, from the 80s or something like that. And I don't know if that's also has to do with the style of this kind of composition. What I really like about this is when I listen to pieces of music like this, I'm actually thinking in sheet music for some reason. That's just the way I was raised, brought up in my brain. So I could see in my mind what it looks like on paper, at least what I'm hearing. It's almost like if you could imagine that while this is being played, each one of these notes feel like, you know, they're like filling up these measures in my brain. And I love what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing with all the changes of the arrangements and the compositions in and out of different little time signatures, so time shifts and stuff like that. And then also looking, and also feeling a lot of syncopated and very unique rhythmical arrangements by the musicians. Anyhow, I'm just kind of yammering right now because I'm still kind of like trying to position myself in a better place to give this, you know, a little bit more of an organic kind of response here. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and trudge through. I don't mean trudge through like a bad thing. Let's power through another bunch of minutes here, and then I'll come back at you with some more stuff.
There she stood in mystery, searching for the final ring within a dream within a dream within a dream.
I'm not afraid.
I just want to mention, I just really love the reset of that passage. Right before it, there was really nice arpeggiation going on with the piano playing the sequence, do-da-dee-do-da, and it sounded like they may have had like a pizzicato or a harp behind that, doubling that sequence. But if you saw me go, you can hear it vaguely in the background. There's the choir sounds that are going on back there. One thing I am noticing is that the decision thus far seems to be that the richness and the thickness of the mix as far as ambient is really controlled, and or has been given, most of the power has been given to the guitars. So in other words, a lot of the other things that I'm hearing here that might be like those choruses or certain things that I may have thought would have been like really wide in an ambient sound, they decided in their engineering to keep it in these nice little pockets that still make them a wonderful part of the arrangement. But I'm a little bit more of a dynamics freak, so sometimes I like to, which sometimes gets me into trouble. Too much dynamics, things get muddied out, you lose these nuances. Because there are intricate keyboard arrangements, and what I'm talking about is everything from piano to those pads and stuff like that. If you're just over dynamic on that, you will muddy that stuff up, and you'll lose a lot of it in like kind of this, I don't know, these ambient artifacts, if you would, little pieces that would get lost if they didn't do it this way. So I just wanted to bring that up. So I'm going to go back a little bit and let's continue on. I just want to say something that just dawned on me, and I was reaching for, like, you know, from my very small, narrow pocket of influences in metal. There was something I think they said in there, "Dream On" and something like that, and then the way they sang that song with the harmonies, all of a sudden it hit me on, why do they remind me of somebody? Styx. You know, that kind of very powerfully arranged rock that Styx was, and then even all about also. That guitar sounds a little bit like that guy from Boston. You know, the Boston Styx era of rock. I don't think anybody ever talks about that. Maybe I should do a couple tracks of theirs just out of posterity. But but to me, that's a huge compliment for me, is having, if that's in fact any influence on this, but to kind of draw that line to the band Styx with that kind of very powerful kind of composition and arrangement and thought processing to going into their arrangements. Also, you see me just fully goobering over the bass. What a great bass sound. What a great bass sound. He's killing it, but what a great sound. Oops, sorry. I love when they did that. When they kind of took us on a little bit of a kind of, you know, syncopated kind of vibe and stuff. And I was, let me see there. Are we square? Are we square? I love that back and forth between the guitar and the keyboard. Once again, reminiscent of other bands that have multiple, you know, members, keyboardists, drummers, bass guitar, etc., etc. You know, when I listen to music like this, it really just, it's one of those things where I don't think I hear enough of bands of this nature, and I think in this coming up year, what I'm going to be doing is diving in a little deeper into, you know, these kind of bands. And I think for me, like I said, it's a little bit more of a rush for me when I'm listening to tracks like this, because I swear if I could holograph out to you guys what's going on in my head, like all the notes flying around, you could see why I have puppets and I talk to myself a lot. No. Anyhow, this was a suggestion, long time in coming. Thank you. You know who you are, for hanging in there. And once again, I really appreciate the support and everything here. And I continue to rely on you guys for education about the bands. Remember, anything that I ever say about my reactions are just my opinion, obviously. So when I say it sounds like this or sounds like that, remember that I have a very small base, if you would, of influences from metal. So that's what this whole thing is all about for me on this channel, is just you know, I am a kid going through this for the toy box for the very first time, you know. So anyhow, you guys know that story. You've been on my main channel long enough. All right, guys, take care of yourself. Aloha.
All right.